stories that I've heard on YouTube, but it was still an experience regardless. Alright, so let's start. So this was my second semester in college. I actually didn't want to be at the dorm anymore, even though with my first roommate it was pretty alright, but I had to get a dorm base because of my visa. Like, I had to have like a guaranteed place to live, and I wasn't there throughout summer, so I couldn't really apply for like a better flat. I don't know, it was just really complicated, but I had to get a dorm basically. And I thought, hey, it won't be that bad. Like, my first roommate was pretty alright. Now, one thing that is important is that it was a one room only. So it was a one room with 2 beds, 2 tables, 2 closets, and 1 bathroom, and 1 shower. The shower was separated from the main bathroom. So I have arrived there on the move-in day, and I've opened the door. It was on the 3rd floor, I remember, and it was completely dark. It was around 6 p.m. The move-in day ended around 9, I think, so I was still like pretty early. I opened the door and it was completely dark, like the blinds were on, all that, and I thought, oh, like, I guess nobody is here, right? It turns out that the girl was sleeping, the other girl that I'm gonna be talking about, and I didn't really think much of it. Like, I thought, okay, yes, I guess she sleeps, you know, she was tired, she, you know, took a nap, but she used to sleep around that time every single day, around 6 p.m. like from 6 p.m. till 9 p.m. and sometimes she would wake up around like 9 p.m. and go out, but the majority of the times she wouldn't. So that was interesting. So again, I've entered. She seemed very bothered by me disturbing her precious sleep at 6 p.m. and she just seemed like, I don't know, I like, firsthand I've got like really weird vibes from her. Like, she tried to be nice, but you could tell that she was hoping that she wouldn't get a roommate, which, like, okay, I mean, she didn't have troubles with visas. She could have get a single room or, you know, live somewhere else, so whatever, I couldn't. So she seemed very bothered by me being there, and like after I think 30 minutes, because obviously I had to unpack everything, right? So after like 30 minutes she decided to turn on the light, very annoyed, and just was at her laptop just sitting and being angry at me being there. So that was like the first impression. So already the first impression wasn't that great. Second thing, the room smelled like absolute shit. I think, I don't know what it was. I think she either had a lot of perfumes or she was using so much perfume on her clothes that it just smelled like crazy. To be fair, it wasn't smelling nice. It was like a typical, like really heavy granny perfume. And I don't like that smell, to be fair. So, I was like struggling. Like, I remember being in that room at first. I was just like, oh, you know, something is smelling in there. But then I learned that the room smelled like that all the time. And she absolutely hated when I would open the window. Like, she just liked that smell. And already, like, we just didn't click. I prefer, you know, fresh air from outside. And I don't really, I can't really handle all these smells well. I always got a headache after 30 minutes of me to know each other and whatever. Well, that didn't happen. She was acting very hostile to me, like, from the very beginning, and I don't understand, like, why, like, what was the problem? And I think, you know, in a way, because I'm heavily introverted and I need kind of like my own space, or I need like somebody that I can get along with if we are living in the same room. I think it took like a huge toll on my mental health, because I started to have like the worst anxiety I ever had in my life, because I just didn't like being with her in that room. So I would always like go out, but I knew that if I would go back, I would just, you know, be stuck with her in like this tiny room, and I didn't want to do that, so I just started, you know, staying out a lot. But then, yeah, I started to have really bad anxiety being out and being at the dorm as well. So that was like the first few weeks. Oh, I also forgot to say that she took up like the whole space in the bathroom, like completely. Like there was no shelf where I could put my stuff. And I was like, what the hell? And so I, you know, like she ended up moving some of the stuff somewhere else, like to her like main room, because the bathroom was pretty small and there was no like, there wasn't even a place for me to put like my hygiene, you know, products. So already like I did not like this girl, she didn't like me, we didn't click. Well, then my things started to disappear, and it was so weird, because, you know, at like some point I noticed like, oh, my shirt just went away for a couple of days and then it reappeared in my closet. And at first I didn't think much of it, because I am a pretty like messy person. Like I don't, you know, pay attention to my belongings like all the time. If I'll put my shirt in the closet, I don't really think about like where I've put it, right? So it was like little things like that. And I was, you know, in the beginning, like I said, I didn't notice it, but at some point I was just like, this is odd. Like this is strange. So she would always go through my stuff, my makeup, my clothes, my food as well. You name it, she would go through it, probably. So, yeah, because of this, I really didn't want to stay there. And so I started staying at my boyfriend's place all the time. In my boyfriend's apartment, which was this tiny, tiny apartment, but it was still better than being with this girl in that. So I moved a lot of the stuff to like his apartment, but it wasn't perfect because, like I said, the apartment was so tiny, it wasn't made for 2 people. So I wasn't spending that much time at the dorm. However, I've noticed that like some of my products were just disappearing, like my toilet paper or my makeup wipes. I didn't have like the proper makeup wipes. I guess the makeup, what's it called? Not cushions, but like the makeup, like pads that you like remove your makeup with. Either your reusable one, or like stuff that you clean like your ears with. Stuff like that. And I was like, so once I noticed that when I've returned to the dorm, my toilet paper was completely missing. Like she used all of it. I had a bunch of rolls there, and they were all gone, and she used all of it. So I was, of course, super mad. I was like, okay, this is like the last straw. I'm gonna confront her about this, because this is like, come on, now she's stealing, you know. And obviously it wasn't about like the toilet paper. Like if she wanted, you know, if she ran out and wanted some, that's totally fine. I would totally, you know, give it to her. I was just like, okay, I've had enough. And I confronted her. I think I did it over text because she wasn't at the dorm. And she was super defensive about it. She was just like, oh, I thought that we can share. Which, like, with my previous roommate, we have shared most of the stuff, right? Because it was more convenient. Like, for example, with my previous roommate, you know, she bought tons of toilet paper and she wanted to use it. So I was just like, okay, I'm gonna buy like soap or, you know, something else, or like, you know, food, whatever. So we, you know, with my previous roommate, we've split it and we agreed on that. You know, we have communicated like two proper adults. But this roommate just took my stuff and she was just like, oh, I thought we can share. Which, like, come on, no. Like, if you take my stuff without asking, that's just stealing. So that was one thing. Then later on, there was this table and it had like a little safe in it. There was like a couple of drawers that you can put like money in or whatever, your passport, and you can lock it. However, I've put all my money into my suitcase and I've locked it because I thought that it's safer than this drawer, because the drawers can have the same keys, right? Because they were, you know, they were the same drawers basically. So I was just like, let's just put like my money inside my suitcase. And I didn't really use that drawer for a lot of things. I've put my food in there, I think, and maybe like my passport. I think that was it. Oh, and also a pack of gums. So I had this pack of gums that basically you would open it and then you throw out the like opening zip or whatever, and then you use a zip that's like inside the bag. And I don't know if I'm explaining well, but obviously you can see once you have opened it, you can see that it was opened. I think that's also for like safety, you know, reasons, you know, just so people won't open that in like shops and stuff like that. So you can clearly see that it was opened. And I've had this unopened bag of gum in that drawer that you can lock. One day I came back and I wanted to have a piece of gum, so I went to it and I wanted to open it for the first time because I knew that I didn't use it. So I, you know, came to the drawer. I think I unlocked it and I took the bag and I was like, wait a minute, this is odd, because the bag like clearly was opened before, but she taped the original like foil back so I wouldn't notice. Like, I don't even know what her thought process was, because honestly, if she would just open it, she, you know, I probably wouldn't have noticed, right? But no, she taped it back like the original thingy. And I was like, what the hell? And, you know, it wasn't even about like the piece of gum or whatever. I didn't care. Like, of course I would give her a gum if she wanted, but just something about it, like her going to that drawer and looking for stuff, was just so disturbing and creepy that after this I was just like, okay, I need to move out. Like, I'm not staying with this weirdo anymore, because clearly she was like going through my stuff all the time. You know, she like, you can see that sometimes, you know, she was just like rummaging through stuff, and I've had enough. I was just like, this is just creepy. I'm not gonna stay here anymore, and I moved out after like 1 month. However, I had to wait for some time before I could move out, because you had to do like cancel your dorm, and it was all this like huge process of you know, them like returning the money that you already paid for, and then the dorm, I don't know, like the dorm people had to come in and check the room if it's fine, if I didn't broke anything. So I had to wait for like a week, and obviously I knew that these people because I just woke up and I didn't really know like what was going on. I was just in complete shock. And so I just turned around and I put on my earphones and I just pretended that I don't hear, because yeah, so that was that. That was like the complete last straw. Like, I already knew that I'm going to move out soon, but I was just like, yeah, I am done living here. Like, this girl is just creepy. Not only creepy, like, this is even, this is rude. Yeah. And after that, I have left the dorm completely mentally exhausted. So, yeah. Till this day, I don't know if she knew that I knew about her doing that. I think she doesn't. Oh, I would almost forget. She used to put like really weird quotes around the room. Like, you are great. You are not stupid. You deserve everything. If you put this like randomly all over the room. There were more weird ones. I only remembered these, but there were more weird ones. Wait, let me see. I think I took a picture of it. Let me see if I can still find it. So I actually didn't end up taking a picture. I thought that I did. But yeah, I mean, I think the rest of the quotes were in Russian anyway. She was a Russian girl, by the way. And I didn't speak Russian, so I think that's why I didn't take pictures of those. So yeah, that was the story. I have no idea what she is doing today. She acted like super sad when I was leaving the dorm. She's just like, oh, that's a bummer.